Hello, everybody out there on YouTube. Once again, it is the three middle-aged guys just bullshitting about nothing. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
Grandma's one.
Yep. Actually, we're not bullshitting about nothing. You know what we're going to be talking about with this particular video? Ready, guys? Yeah. Yep.
These.
If you haven't figured it out, we are going to be talking about the Super Nintendo, the SNES. Actually, or as it was released in Japan, the Super Famicom. Okay. But this was Nintendo's second foray into the video game industry. After they saw around, let's see here, what was it? 1985 was the NES. After they saw around 6 years of success of that in North America, they decided to go ahead and move on, as you guys are seeing, move on from this to this. Okay. The Super Nintendo console was released in North America on August 23rd, 1991, and we just passed up the 25th anniversary of the Super Nintendo, which, if you haven't guessed by now, is a console that's very dear to all of our hearts. And we're just going to go ahead and reminisce and talk about it. Because the thing is that gaming has come a long way from cartridges and simple digital controllers. All right. But when it came to technology, though, like I said, the Super Nintendo, this is what people dealt with before. Okay. Before that, really, the only thing that they dealt with was either a freaking Pong paddle or an Atari joystick, which only had one button. All right. Maybe you knew somebody who had an Intellivision. Maybe you knew somebody who had a ColecoVision, in which case it was pretty much the Atari joystick with a fucking phone pad connected to it. All right. But when it came to actual dedicated game, you know, just the inclusion of all of this secondary, it revolutionized gaming.
I mean, let's think about this. Something like this is basically the control scheme.
Yeah.
You have to think about it. Everything from Super Nintendo onward that was successful was a reminiscent of Super Nintendo's type of control. Yep. Maybe with a couple of exceptions, and the exceptions are by Nintendo.
Yeah.
Like the 64, the Wii, the GameCube.
Yeah. And you have a lot of variations here and there, but yeah, basically, you know, digital controls, the form factor is still there. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, the number of buttons on the face may change and the layout, but even then, the general layout and everything else is still there.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come down to it, you know, if the NES was Nintendo saying, "Hey, look, games are here," the Super Nintendo was like, "Games aren't only here, but they're fucking taking over."
Oh yeah.
And that's what we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about. Not only just the hardware, but also a lot of games. In fact, I'm pretty sure a lot of us are going to be spending a lot of time reminiscing about games, and maybe a few stories about when you got a hold of your Super Nintendo, whether it's a Super Nintendo or a Super Famicom. Who wants to jump into the foray first?
I got my Super Nintendo Christmas 91. I think it was 91 or 90, one of the two. Funniest thing about it is I didn't even ask for it. I remember going into Target and they had one of those freaking samples there where you play Mario World for like a couple of minutes and it shuts you out of the game. So I'm there, I'm playing it. You know, my mom sees I'm playing it. She knows about me and the NES anyway. And then next thing you know, it ended up in my possession without even asking for it. I guess she figured that, yeah, that's what he wants, so I'm going to get him. And, of course, I ended up with Super Mario World, and I ended up with Final Fight. Now, I had to build up my collection as it gradually went along, you know, by allowance and working and stuff like that. But Super Nintendo always will have a great place in my heart for games and game. And I'm pretty sure we have games laying around that we're just going to hold up
Oh yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that we're going to have a lot of duplicates.
I'm pretty sure that too.
Because there are certain games that are just about everybody's collection and within reason.
Yep. And it's not just the fact that the games are like, really well known, or they're very common and easy to get a hold of. It's just fucking good. All right, they're good fucking games.
Still can play to this day.
Yeah, and I mean, with this, as big as the retro scene is getting now, I will admit that going back and playing 8-bit games can be really, really rough. Okay, going back and playing 16-bit games nowadays, they hold up a lot better. Even 25 fucking years later.
Yeah.
But before we go into that, what about you, Grey Mouse? How did you get a hold of your SNES?
My SNES came. No, my SNES came at Christmas 1991. Santa Claus brought it to me, and just like
you were a good boy that year.
Just like the theme, it came with the Super Mario World, and that was one of the first games that I played, and I just, oh my gosh, I fell in love with it. And then for my Super Famicom, I was actually stationed overseas in Japan in 1996, so I had the unique advantage to actually buy this off the shelf when it was still in retail. And this is the one that I bought way back in 1996. And that's awesome.
Same here. When joining the military and being stationed in Japan, along with Grey Mouse, we bought Super Famicoms.
And the beautiful thing about it is that it was in retail up until like 1999. And it was supported, I think, up until 2006, I think, somewhere around there.
Certain people still made games for it and stuff.
Yeah. And then also some of the Super Famicom games that I have, I actually bought them from the shelf at retail, not just hand-me-downs or second-hand stores.
Cool. So
what about you?
Well, then I guess,
how did you get your Super Nintendo?
Well, my Super Nintendo, when it really does have a very special place in my heart because, like I've said in other videos before, my parents didn't like the fact that I was a gamer. They did not encourage that at all. In fact, the very first game system that they decided to get for us, which was an Atari VCS, my dad decided to go ahead and smash in front of us when we were fucking off. But the thing is that that's when we learned that those things were built like trucks, and we could actually get that thing to run even though the case was all fucked up. We needed a pair of needle nose pliers to go ahead and turn the power on.
But it still worked.
All right. But let's get past that. So the thing is that, yeah, my parents weren't big on getting me video game stuff. In fact, for the longest time, part of the reason why I moved out was that they said that I wouldn't get any place, involving myself with video games. Fast forward, I spent like the better half of actually over the last decade of my life, being in QA, working for game companies or companies that make games. And yeah, it turned out a little bit different. Okay, back to the point. The Super Nintendo was actually the first a video game system that I purchased for myself. I purchased it in 1994 after I graduated high school. So literally the PlayStation was right around the corner. And I went ahead and I went out and I bought a fucking Super Nintendo. Everybody else around me, they were sitting there, they were gaming out on their PS1s and their Sega Saturns, and I was playing on the Super Nintendo. First fucking system I owned. I don't have my original Super Nintendo anymore. One of my former associates up in Washington State made off with it and a bunch of my games, which is part of the reason why I don't lend my shit out anymore. But yeah, it's definitely the system that it's the first system that I own, the first system that I bought with my own fucking money. And the funny thing was that even though my parents weren't high on video games, since it was actually something I bought with my own money, they didn't say a goddamn thing about it.
Mm-hmm. That was kind of like the way I was with the PlayStation. I got that for my birthday, but me and my sister split the cost.
Mm-hmm.
She actually was like, yeah, we're going to get this thing for you. And she split the costs with me. And mom was like, damn it, it was a present. And he paid his own money. Can't say shit.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the one reason why, you know, the Super Nintendo has such a great place in history isn't the fact that, you know, it came after the NES and Nintendo was so successful. Okay. They brought the industry back from the brink. Okay. Because what a lot of people don't remember is the fact that the Genesis was actually out on the scene. It was actually released out almost a full year before the Super Nintendo.
1 or 2 years?
I know in the States, I think it was 9 months as far as the difference in release dates. It might have been longer as far as in Japan and everything, but I believe in the States it was 9 months. But that allowed them literally to take over like 70% of the fucking market. Nintendo knew that they needed to bring something else out, and then they brought out the Super Nintendo, which the great thing about it is that if you remember, arcade still existed back then. And guess what? Yeah, you weren't getting arcade translations on the fucking NES.
No, not even close. Well, depends on the game, but yeah, your point still stands.
Yeah, at the time, especially in the early 90s, you weren't getting those quality games on the NES.
And then the Genesis brought it closer and closer.
Yep. And then when they actually figured out how to fucking make games correctly for the Super Nintendo, it got really fucking close. You know? And that's what really stuck with people is games. So what we're going to do is that we're going to take a little stroll down memory lane. And we're going to start talking about games that we like and we fucking love. You know why? Because we still have them today. All right.
We still play them today.
Indeed. Okay. Who wants to go first?
Okay. All right. Have some games set up side here. Now, a lot of people will not recognize this. But this is UN Squadron.
Oh.
One of the best shooters of all time. Period. This was an arcade by Capcom. Came on the Super Nintendo. Yes, it wasn't arcade perfect, quote unquote, but still a great shooter nonetheless. Another great shooter is this.
Oh.
Yes. Fuck Konami. But Gradius 3.
Yep.
If you've never played those, I mean, come on. Go and play them. This one needs no introduction. Please. I see. Okay. Gray Mouse. And what again? We all have this in our collection for a fucking reason. And
yes.
More another, English or Japanese. So please. Oh God, yeah, that.
Well, even this, the Metroid, you could actually change the language to English, even if you had a Japanese copy.
Yes,
so
exactly.
That's what's great about that.
But the main thing about Super Metroid is, besides the beginning, there was no dialogue in the game, or except if you had to escape somewhere, there was a timer coming down. You told the story. And that was one of the best things about that fucking adventure game. And there are certain games that modeled after that genre.
Yep.
This almost made me throw my Super Nintendo out a fucking window. And that should be self-explanatory because this is one of the hardest games ever where you have to beat twice in order to fucking beat it, and you have to beat it with a special weapon or some sort. Yeah, for motherfuckers that complain about Dark Souls, play the Ghosts and Goblins series. This needs no introduction either. This is one of the main reasons why I even wanted the Super Nintendo in the first place, because I saw 6 buttons on this. I was like, this has to end up on there.
Yep.
There you go. Street Fighter 2. Yes, there are other versions of it on the Super Nintendo as well, like this one.
Yeah.
But again, Street Fighter 2, yeah. And then there's this. The only thing wrong about this game is that it's not 2 players. Great fucking beat 'em up. If you've never played it, go play this. Maximum fucking one of the best Spider-Man games ever. One of the best beat 'em ups. Please go play this game. So I'm gonna, because we could be here all night. So Who else is on the
Yep.
All right, for me, this game is one of the best sounding games for the Super Nintendo, in my opinion. It's none other than DKC, Donkey Kong Country.
Yep.
I mean, look.
It's called Super Donkey Kong in Japan, but this is Donkey Kong Country.
Donkey Kong Country, oh my gosh.
The soundtrack alone, this is one of the very first games that the soundtrack. Damn it.
Yep.
And then another game that was pretty much well known for the soundtrack and the racing is F-Zero. I mean, F-Zero. Oh my goodness, man. And another racing game, Mario Kart.
That right there, if people needed a reason for a fucking multi-tap and they didn't know about the existence of Bomberman, that was the fucking reason why people owned a fucking multi-tap.
So you mentioned Bomberman. That's one of the best party games on a Super Nintendo. Period.
And then the FX chip, Star Fox. This is the Japanese version. In box.
You have it in box. You have it in box, Ray Mouse. I'm impressed.
Oh, there's that right there.
Then some of my most favorite RPGs of all time. I have Secret Lightning in box, and also Chrono Trigger in box.
Oh,
yeah, love these two games.
Oh, some people.
Those are up in the shelf over there.
What some people love it? Final Fantasy. No, play those two. Play those two that Great Mouse just played. Please, go play those.
Oh, yep. Any others, Gray Mouse?
Are you happy? Tell me.
Or do you want to stop there?
I have to show it before you. I know what you're going to do.
Go ahead, man.
No, it's yours.
Oh, no. I don't. No, it's okay. The
what?
Super Mario RPG. This is the.
That wasn't the one I thought you were going to show. Honestly.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Reverend.
Super Mario RPG. This is probably, actually, I think this is one of the last games that I bought at retail, brand new out of the box for the Super Nintendo.
Legend of the Seven Stars.
Yeah, and the thing is that this particular game is also basically Square's swan song to Nintendo before they completely abandoned them as a platform. Yeah, now that's something else altogether. But really, and the thing is, you're gonna see a very obvious theme here, and not just the theme, but it's a very obvious theme here as far as the games that I have. When I had my Super Nintendo, pretty much fucking JRPGs, that was my fucking jam. Okay, very first game I purchased along with my Super Nintendo.
Oh,
ActRaiser. Okay. Now the funny thing about this is that, like I said in the previous video, when I picked this one up, I heard about it from a buddy in high school, and I remember he mentioned it, and then I sat there. I played through the first level, then I got to the actual village building part, and initially, all excitement I had about the game, about getting deeper into the game, it died for a second because I was like, I am going to absolutely fucking hate this. The absolute favorite part of this game is the fucking village building part for me. All right? And when they took it out of fucking ActRaiser 2, it was a goddamn crime.
That's another game that has an excellent soundtrack on it. Oh,
ActRaiser, yes.
I believe Yuzo Koshiro, again, on this. All right? And he made a career going out of his way and making fucking soundtracks for games. Now, like I said, fucking RPGs. Breath of Fire and Breath of Fire 2. Okay.
Those are Capcom games, aren't there?
Well,
No, or SquareSoft.
No, they're both Capcom, but SquareSoft distributed and published out the original Breath of Fire when it came out. Okay. It wasn't expected to be all that successful, but it did pretty well for itself. So much so that Capcom decided,
it had 3 of them on the Super Nintendo alone.
Yeah. No, they have 2, 3, and 4.
I got a funny story about that. I was actually in. I just graduated from boot camp, and I was in my quote unquote A school across the street, and actually they had a common area where everybody could come in and just watch TV, play Nintendo or whatever. And that was the first time that I heard of Breath of Fire, and because it was one of the selection of the games that you could play, and I put that in, and I instantly fell in love with it. And I think that night I went to the store and I bought it so I can have it for myself.
Yep. Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, it's a great game, and it's a great series. There's another one that kind of fell off to the wayside. Yeah. I don't know what the hell they were thinking about with Dragon Quarter on PS2, but that's another conversation altogether. Okay. This is another game that I got really, really early after I finished through ActRaiser and was able to scrape up enough money. Was RoboTrek. All right. If you look at the cartridge, the bottom part is really, really faded out. Okay? Because this spent a lot of time in my fucking console with the back of it to the fucking to the window next to in my room. Yeah, that particular game, that's when I started learning about Enix.
Yep.
And I started recognizing them as a company that, during this time, basically my favorite gaming company out there wasn't Square, it was Enix. But that's not to say that Square wasn't going to be around to sit there and impress me or hold a very special place in my heart, because then I would have never gotten around to this.
Yes. Yes.
Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 6, debatably, it's my favorite Final Fantasy game, and debatably one of the best Final Fantasy game out there. I know a lot of people are going to sit there and toss up either between this or Final Fantasy 7. Just generally speaking, I think this is a better game because it's more complete. The characters are actually characters,
We're actually characters. That's a great way to put it.
Unlike 7, where it was like, in 6 you have 12 fucking playable characters, and if you have them in your party, each one has a purpose. There's a reason why you want them there. Okay, but in 7, if you don't want somebody around, you're not going to miss them if somebody has some good material equipped already. The only thing you're going to miss is limit breaks, pretty much. But I digress, and I could already see the comments being made. All right. Last one, okay. Also on the Enix train. Ogre Battle, March of the Dark Queen. Okay. Not only is this a great game, but this also introduced me to the concept of going out of your way and looking for particular titles to own and collect and hold and play a hold of. All right. When I got a hold of this, I got a hold of it used, and it was from Gameland in Cerritos.
Seriously?
Yeah. You know how much it cost? $70 without the fucking box. Okay.
That's without the box and instructions, folks.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it's a hard as hell fucking title to come by back then, as it was. So, but this is definitely a great fucking game. Sooner or later, I'll actually get to the point of actually finishing it. Yeah, but obviously, fucking games. Okay,
I'm gonna hold up something. Oh boy. Now this, you have to recognize it.
And if you don't
read it, it is what the Reverend is holding up. Link of the Past.
Come on, man. The Master Sword's there. Everybody knows.
Yeah. I think that this cover art is way better than anything else.
Oh, no. I do agree.
Because this says it all. I mean, it's like, yeah. As soon as you see that, you're like, holy shit, I know what that is. I'm picking it up.
Yep. That's definitely okay.
Some games that just as passing, some beat 'em ups, Final Fight.
Oh, whoa. I wasn't going to pass that up.
And then Turtles in Time.
What the? I wasn't going to pass that up either.
We can't pass those up, man.
No. I go one even further. Play this. Oh, you.
I got the Japanese version.
Yes.
Batman Returns.
And these.
Oh. Yeah, I got all those too.
Yes. Get these. Don't, not that fucking Mighty Number 9 shit. This. A million times better.
And then this one's unique. Super Mario All-Stars.
All-Stars.
The real Super Mario 2.
Oh, well, it's funny because on here, that's what they call it.
That's what they call it. That's what I mean. That's why I brought it up.
And the Mario 2, that's in America, they call it Super Mario USA.
Yep.
On this thing. So this is the actual, yeah.
And then one of my all-time favorites that a lot of people didn't like it because of the art style, but it's still maintained. Yoshi's World.
Yoshi's Island.
Or Yoshi's Island, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Again, you see this? Look. Like Yarn or whatever, or even the Yoshi's Islands on the DS, this one set that standard. It was this right here that everybody's like, oh, colors, but then you play it and you're like, holy shit, this is fucking fun.
Yep. Speaking of, off has to be mentioned.
That's one of the best ever.
Nobody ever expected anything from the little pink puffball.
He hasn't had a bad game.
Yeah, he's never been in a bad game, and this is still one of his better games right there.
Yes, it is, because there was a whole bunch of games, including the Game Boy version.
Yep.
Packed into that.
Yep.
This is Super Castlevania 4.
Yep. Excellent.
Basically a remake of the first Castlevania.
Yep.
Great fucking game.
I got this is Fire Emblem for Super Nintendo.
Yes.
Also, Dragon Slayer is what they call Dragon Warrior.
I was gonna say that's Dragon Warrior, is it?
Yep, but they call it Dragon Slayer.
Okay. This.
I got that too.
Now, let me tell you something about this game. First of all, Mortal Kombat is a special deer in everybody's hearts when it comes to the fighting game genre. But then Mortal Kombat 1 came out on the Super Nintendo, and it was ass.
It sucked.
Not just because it didn't have blood, but the control was middle fingered all the way to the max. This came out, and I guess motherfuckers read letters back then, or mail, or hate mail. They were like, if you fuck this up, Nintendo, we're done with you. Regardless of what you do. So they had it as close to the arcade as they can fucking put it. What, 24 megs? And this was by Midway and Acclaim.
Yep.
For Christ's sake. Everything was damn near perfect about Mortal Kombat 2 for the Super Nintendo.
Yep.
I'm impressed.
Yep. Off the beaten path. Again. Shadowrun.
Underrated. Very underrated.
Underrated, but definitely not what's that? If you try to find this today, this is not going to be fucking cheap for you.
It's one of the better Data East games out there.
Yeah, and it's also, the thing is that when, as far as all of the RPGs that I brought up, like I said, Nintendo and JRPGs that went together. This was not a JRPG.
No, it's not.
This was very Western as far as themes and the way that everything was handled. if props out to the Genesis for putting out their own version of Shadowrun. But yeah, this particular one right here is definitely a unique little monster.
It was.
Yeah, and if you ever get around to playing the new Shadowrun game that they put out on Steam for the PC, Jake shows up in that.
Really?
Yes.
Jake Armitage shows up?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
Speaking of off the beaten path, so I was in a video game store with the theme when we were in the military overseas.
Oh, God. I know where this is going.
I ran across the game, and I was perplexed. I was like, what? So I said, hey, theme, check this game out. And the name of the game is If. And the thing is, it's from Atlas. So it's an RPG. But I was like, if what? Because it said if, and it said ... And that's what, like, what do you mean if it turns on? And it went from there. You know, it's like, what?
That was hilarious because me and Grey Mouse are walking and he's like, hey, theme. I'm like, what? He's like, if. And then we're like, if? What kind of name of a fucking video game is that? And we were like, if what? If the game comes on, if the game ends, if it's good, if it sucks? What the fuck is this shit?
The way I did it was like, I was like, if.
Yeah, when he was like, if. And I was like, what?
Oh, man.
Another game that we kind of forgot to. Oh, man. Wow.
Yes.
Underrated fighting game.
Yep.
Fuck them. Fuck Konami. But this. Tournament Fighters.
We can't have a, at least talking about Super Nintendo, Super Famicom without, there's a game called Front Mission. I don't know if you're familiar with it. But
oh, yes.
This was, oh my God, pick this up whenever possible. Have it in box. And one of my other favorite ones is, this is actually, what do you call it? Another fighting game.
Fatal Fury Special.
Fury. Yep.
Fatal Fury.
I have all of them.
And I got
well, I have 2, 3. No. I have 2 in Special. Even though they're almost the same fucking game. But
you know what though? Look at all. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at the games that we've showed. It's just a testament of how good this freaking system was and still is today.
Oh yeah. Super Game Boy. I've got mine back there.
With this, it came with this. Donkey Kong. If you want to play Mario versus Donkey Kong, basically it was the first Mario versus Donkey Kong was this formula.
Yep.
This game was as close to the arcade as they could get it at the time, once again by Acclaim. And I remember the hitometer. And the hitometer came up and it said, yeah, so what? And the guy next to me playing, he's like, see, that was a weak-ass hit. And I was like, but it put you on your ass, though.
One thing that I've got to go ahead and point out is that the SNES has a lot of great peripherals, and like I said, retro gaming is a big thing now. If you are currently an SNES owner and you have a little bit of cash, and when I say a little bit of cash, I'm talking enough for $190 and $7 for shipping and handling. Whew. You need to get yourself one of these. This is an SD to SNES. Put together by the folks at Crix Gaming.
What? Okay, well, wait. Is there a limit of SD card that can go in there?
It'll fit up to it'll read up to a 32 gig SD card.
Okay.
Guess what? You only need a 2 gigger for the whole library that'll read.
Wow.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. You're able to play.
Remember, most games are 16.
Yeah.
Well, it's 16-bit games.
Right.
Well, it was 16. You know, when it said 32 megs, it's 32 megabits.
Megabits, not megabytes.
So it turns out to be like, 4 megabytes at biggest, right? But yeah, freaking SD card,
I may have to look to pick it up
90%
one
of
of
the
those.
library.
I may have to look up and pick
I
it
might
up.
have to get some of that. Yeah.
The control was kind of there, but I like the fact that Super Nintendo put the zoom in and out, even though it wasn't 100%, but they still did a good job on this.
Yeah. I mean, Tucker was able to do some amazing things for the Super Nintendo and the Neo Geo games. It's actually pretty incredible. Yeah, well, true. But the first Fatal Fury wasn't all that good of a game in the first place. Let's just be honest.
Man, straight to the throat on that one, huh?
Well,
Hey, I'm a wrestling fan.
See you Royal Rumble, and I raise you Natsumi Championship Wrestling.
You know what? I'll raise you Super Fire Pro Wrestling. Wait. We have to play that.
Yes.
Because the Natsumi Pro Wrestling, if you've ever played that, play that shit. You need to play some of these. Of course, I was a WWF fan, and well, I'm still a wrestling fan, but damn, yeah. I saw 6 players on the screen when I first saw it. I was like, holy shit, I gotta get some of that.
And another reason to go ahead, all these games, the last 3 games are definitely a reason to get the Turbo Tap. But, we can probably go on for another 40 minutes, but we only got like 2 minutes left. So I think we'll end this up here.
Boxing game. Oh, shit. You have it too.
Yeah.
Great fucking boxing game.
Yep.
Great fucking boxing game. Boxing Legends of the Ring. Check it out.
Yeah.
Super Nintendo or the Genesis version.
Yep. There are definitely a lot of great games for the Super Nintendo. Like I said, we can go on for another 40 minutes, but we're kind of running low on time.
There are certain games that we haven't that either we don't own or that we just won't pull out. There's a lot of other games in the collection. Trust me.
Yep. Indeed, there is. And there's a reason why this particular system is so dear to our hearts, especially over the last 25 years. Still, happy 25th. Happy 25th.
Happy 25th.
Happy 25th.
Alrighty. With that, thank you for following us all the way up to the end of this video, folks. Like I say at the end of every video, if you're so kind, hit the like button, hit subscribe, comment below, especially if you think we missed something, or if there's something that you want to share about your memories of the Super Nintendo. We are the 3 middle-aged guys just bullshitting about our bullshit ends here. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
Rare Mouse 1.
Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and gaming, congrats to Super Nintendo. 25 healthy years. Yes, there are some games that suck too, but for the most part, it was great experiences for Super Nintendo. I remember renting games, or renting games actually meant something. Yes, SNES. Damn it. I'm going to go play some shit a little bit later on. Credits.
I'm going to play some shit too.